Hey everyone, welcome to the first episode of Low Budget Logistics. I'm so excited to bring this to you. It's been something that's been on my mind for such a long time. And first, I want to thank my wife for buying me this wonderful backdrop that you're seeing here. So, all right, that's just kind of the channel intro. So you're probably going like, what are you talking about, Matt? So my name's Matt. I'm going to be explaining to you some of the wonderful things that happen really behind the scenes and really affect you in your life, but you just don't know about it. So we're going to use really humorous ways. We're going to talk about the supply chain is going to be our main focus on this channel, and explaining the behind the scenes things that happen to get your stuff to you. We're going to talk about some really deep concepts in the supply chain and maybe demystify part of like what happens and what globalization means and what exports are and tariffs and things like that. And we're going to delve into these topics that are something like warehousing and inventory and stuff that like you would probably be bored by, but we're going to take a really humorous tone here. We're going to call it low budget logistics because if you work in the supply chain, you know that everything that you do is going to be as low budget as possible. So I spent probably all of $20 on this, and I want to explain some really difficult concepts in really easy to understand ways, and maybe give you a more full picture of what's going on in the world that's unseen. So, right, that's the first thing. Like, let's talk about what's going on. Supply chain is this really broad term that means a lot of things, and it encompasses a lot of different specialties. One of which being logistics. Probably, I love logistics. I've worked in the logistics world for the last 15, 20 years, and I'm. It's finally time to come out of the shadows and to preach its praises. So the supply chain really kind of, if you, in most boiled down term, is how stuff gets from where it was made to where it needs to go. And that could be your house, that could be a store, either a retail store or a wholesale store. It could be a lot of different things. Heck, it could be even like getting stuff to an influencer for advertising and marketing and those purposes. But it's really getting stuff from where it was all the way to where it needs to be. Typically, supply chain people are focused on optimization and getting it there, getting stuff where it needs to be as efficiently as possible. And we'll talk about how that can provide some pitfalls and could cause some challenges when you're trying to be hyper efficient. You run some risks. Other things that we're going to talk about is like the physical movement of how stuff gets to you, right? Trucks, planes. We don't use a whole lot of sailing craft. We definitely don't use balloons. But anyways, we're going to talk about all that stuff, and we're gonna give you an idea of what that is. So what is the supply chain? It's getting stuff from one place to another. It's producing it, and it's making sure that you've counted it, that you know what you actually have. And it starts all the way at like the ground, right? When you're pulling stuff out of the ground, either you're mining materials or you're, cutting down trees to get paper, right? Those types of things are where like the very beginning of the supply chain begins. And the supply chain goes all the way around the world. It moves probably 2-3 times. It coils around, and it's such a great. The example of a chain is such a great metaphor because every piece is linked together and it coils. So sometimes, right, there's a part of the supply chain called the reverse logistics. You can think of it as reusing products or recycling. And when a product gets recycled, that's another part of the supply chain. It's another links in the chain of getting stuff back into the system to be reused in some other form. And so the supply chain, there's an entire profession that only focuses on returned items or recycled items. And a lot of things that we use every day sometimes get broken down and reused and recycled into something else. So we might talk about that as well. But really, this video is just sort of explain like, hey, what is the supply chain? It's this huge thing that happens behind the scenes Typically, it also happens overnight, right? When you're sleeping, a lot of things are happening to get you the stuff that you need or want. And then we're gonna explain like why you should care, and who cares about why this stuff gets there? It just gets there. Well, there's sometimes, right? Like getting onto that topic, there's sometimes that stuff doesn't get there and there are problems, and you should understand why there might be problems in getting stuff to you, right? We all probably lived through the pandemic, and we all probably wondered, why don't I have toilet paper? Well, that's a fantastic use case of the supply chain, right? There are problems in the supply chain. There's some technical concepts that we're going to talk about, and I'll probably do an entire video just on the bullwhip effect and what that is and why it happened, and what that means for you, so that maybe you can understand a little bit more of, hey, when I'm buying a lot of stuff, it's causing some problems and changing some signals in the world, and I might need to stop doing some things as a result of that. And we'll get to a lot of things. Most of the supply chain works in the aggregate, so we're talking about thousands of people doing the same thing over and over again. But at least hopefully you'll understand this. So all that being said, this one's going to be a little bit of a shorter video today. I want to thank everyone for watching. You're probably my LinkedIn followers, and you probably understand in great detail what the supply chain is and why it is awesome and why it matters. But this really is going to be for you to send to your friends and to share with them, so that they can start to get an appreciation for what it is that you do and what your skills really are. I know that I have a hard time talking and explaining what I do to even my wife and to my friends, because what we do is very difficult and it's very complicated. But it's a lot of fun. So thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to the video. If there's a specific thing you want me to talk about, please let me know down in the comments below. I'll make sure to read them. And if we'll probably do like a Q&A video a bit later. But if there's a good topic on there, then I'll probably do an entire video on it. And maybe I'll have some guests on. Maybe we'll have some talks. But anyways, again, thank you so much for watching the video, and I hope you've enjoyed it. And thanks so much, and have a great day.